the corner, Berry.
Rick Berry has not missed a free throw against Washington. Now it is Berry. Back to Clifford Ray. Goes to Rick Berry.
Golden State getting that ball moving. Intended for Berry. Berry, look at that pass. Rick Berry, look at that shot, would you?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Berry wants to make a move and three. There's a Berry. He's got his shot.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Rick Barry Show here on Mic'd Up. My co-partner Brian outside, the Surfman himself, Cyrus, Saatsaz, just got done doing one of the shows that he does on a regular basis, Locked On Warriors. And we're looking forward to talking a little bit on my show right now, certainly about this first playoff game of the Warriors, which are near and dear to my heart. And there's a lot of other stuff going on, obviously, in the NBA. These playoffs are going to be, I think, very interesting, and especially some of the matchups that are out there. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they play out. Disappointed in the Warriors' loss tonight, although you got to give Sacramento credit. They were playing at home. They played their brand of basketball. The Warriors' defense wasn't able to stop them, especially in the second half. I mean, the first half they could have lived with for sure. You know, that would have been a 110-point game only for them if they played the same defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked a lot about this on the other show, but those of you who may have come over from Locked On Warriors to, it's one of those things you're going to have to hear me say the same things a couple of different times because it is what it is. But
who cares?
Overall, the Warriors had a shot. Okay, they had a shot, and please, I saw somebody sending notes on the other show saying, "Well, the Warriors will steal one." Hey, you don't steal anything. Okay, when I hear a former player saying "steal a game," I didn't steal a game in my life. I went out there, busted my ass trying to win, and we earned the freaking victory. Steal my ass. Okay, stop saying that and stop saying running downhill, please. You're driving an old man nuts. I can't stand it. Who the hell came up with that downhill thing?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea.
But they're using it even in football.
I hear it in football a lot more.
I don't know about you folks. Can somebody please tell me, did you ever play on a court that was downhill?
No. I
tell you what, though. I did have a dream. I used to have a nightmare sometimes. I was playing the game. We were playing the game. And the freaking the court was like so freaking long. I mean, it was like to get from one end to the other was like going on a freaking 100-yard sprint. And it would drive me nuts. And I'd wake up like in a cold sweat saying, "Oh my God, this is crazy." It might have had something to do because we practiced when I was with the Warriors in the Presidio at the Army base there, and they had a court that was really stupid long. And so, I've never seen a downhill one. So if somebody has, please tell me, send me a picture of it. And if you're playing on that court, you can talk about going downhill. Otherwise, I never remember going downhill.
I mean, I understand the metaphor. I mean, it basically means like someone just going hard in a straight direction.
No. If you're most of the time, if you see somebody really going hard downhill, they're going to fall and they're out of control. Now there are some players in the league. Jason Poole has a time. He must be. Maybe he is going downhill and he's lost control. Same thing with Tatum. Same thing with Brown. There's a whole bunch of guys. The same thing with Westbrook. These guys sometimes maybe they are on a court going downhill because they're out of control.
But it's a weird metaphor. I've never understood. So basically, when you hear a player going downhill, when you hear someone say "lockdown defender,"
well, don't get me started on that. Lockdown defender. Oh my God! I'm telling you, this is like, woo. No such thing. People are making things up. I tell you what, Gary Payton Jr. I mean, he's a nice defensive player, no question about it. But defense doesn't win championships. But defense, you can't win without being a decent defensive team. Now, if the Kings could play the way they played in this game, the rest of the series and the rest of the playoffs, they can win the championships and be the first team that was one of the worst teams in the regular season defensively to win a championship. Nobody's looked it up, and I'm not doing it because I hate doing that stuff. Has an NBA team that won an NBA championship ever been out of the top 10 in defense? You know, and you'd have to in the old years and stuff. There probably wasn't, but in the old years you'd have to go ahead and say not in the top 10 because there weren't that many teams. So you'd have to lower it because there weren't that many teams playing professional basketball. But usually, the team that wins the championship is a good defensive team.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now to see if I can. if I can find that out here. I found one website called Pace and Space Hoops that lists the worst defenses to win an NBA championship. Okay, we're going to ignore the 1951 Rochester Royals. Here's one team, the 1995 Houston Rockets, who I am hearing a lot of comparisons to this current Warriors team. Both teams finished as the 6th seed in the Western Conference. That team repeated as world champions. They were 12th on defense.
Okay, well, so there we go. So there is a team that was outside of the top 10.
Oh, I found a much worse one. The 2001 Los Angeles Lakers. That was the second of the 3 championship teams. They were 21st.
Really?
Woo! Oh, so there you go. Yeah.
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know all those things, and we've never big into those statistical things. So there. But all of the years that they played, you're talking about 2.
Yes, correct.
2 teams out of the top 10.
And of course, the Rochester Royals.
And the Royals. Yeah, well, that's so hard.
I don't get it. Yeah.
But so anybody didn't even score points back in those days. So that's interesting. 20-something for the Lakers, but why? Because they were just incredible offensively that year.
Yes.
What were they offensively? Probably
second. They were second.
Second.
This was at the peak of the Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal era. But they did not play defense that year.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Not that it can't be done, but it rarely happens. So now I'll be able. This is good because I'll be able to be more specific about it. There has been 2 teams that have won: the Rockets at 12, the Lakers at 23, which means there's hope for the Sacramento Kings then that they might be able to pull it off again. But the odds are not in their favor to do it because, again, it's a rarity in professional basketball for that.
I found 3 more that finished 10th or worse. Interestingly enough, the 2018 Warriors, that was the second year of the Kevin Durant era, they were 11th. And then the 2016 Cavaliers, who disappointingly beat the Warriors in 7. And then the Milwaukee Bucks championship team, just a couple years ago, they both were 10th. And that's about it.
Yeah. So I said 10. I was just throwing out a number doing it rarely. So it's rare that a team is not one of the better, a good defensive team is somewhere anyway from, if they got, if you say 30 teams to do it, it'd be anywhere from probably 10, well, I would say 10 to 15, you're good, because as long as you're not worse than 15. So only one team was not a good defensive team that won an NBA championship. That's that Laker team.
Correct.
All the other ones fall within the parameter of being at least in the top 15, which is in the 50 percentile. So they were a good defensive team. Not great.
Rick, I think people would love to hear this answer from you. Do you think this Warriors team can repeat? I know it's only 1 game, but we've seen a lot in the regular season. This was not a great regular season team, and like you saw them tonight. Again, it's only 1 game, but can you see a championship? Can this team, in your opinion, with your eyes, what you've seen so far, can they repeat as world champions? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for 1 game, it'd be crazy for me to make a comment, to make a definitive statement of that. No, it's the same thing I said before. If they're going to win, right, they're going to have to be better playing defense on the road because they have to win at least 1 game on the road in every one of the series. Now,
correct.
You want to be the eternal optimist again, say, well, they have to play 4 times, so 1 game, they only have to be 25%. Right?
Correct, yeah.
You win 25% of your game on the road in the series, and you can be the champion, but there's a big but. You got to be perfect at home.
I actually found. Let me ask, Rick, are you familiar? So obviously, people love analytics. They love data, and they love to rely on statistics, maybe more so than they should. But are you familiar with a net rating stats? What that means is it's statistics pertaining to 100 possessions.
Like some of the 100 possession things that gives you an indication of how a team is performing and stuff, but I don't think you're going to bet the house on stuff like that. It's just interesting stuff. A lot of the stuff is very interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is bullshit.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Because I found some stats for the worst defensive rating by a team who's made the NBA Finals, and so the Orlando Magic were the worst team, I guess. They had 113.7, meaning they gave up 113.7 points per 100 possessions. But I was just curious what your thoughts
were. Okay, but hold on. Let me ask you. How many points were they scoring?
According to this, 98.2.
They were only 98 and giving up 113 and made it to the finals?
Wait, I don't...
no, that can't be right.
That. I don't
I
have
can't.
the offensive rating. That's why
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't.
What I'm saying is that a lot of times the bottom line is what the W is the most important thing. Okay.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
if you're giving up 113 a game, but you're averaging like the Kings 120, I can live with that.
But do the Warriors look like a championship team to you?
Well, I thought they played against the best offensive team in the league, doing stuff. I mean, they played one good half, but one good
Right,
half isn't enough.
right.
Okay, one good half. If they had played the second half like they played the first half, I said that's very encouraging, man. That's a good sign. They got an opportunity maybe to do something special. But they gave up 60 something points in the second half. I mean, the other team, they were hot, playing well. And the Warriors didn't play as well as they needed to play in the second half. They got outplayed again on the road, giving up a significant number of points, which is exactly what the problem has been for them all season long.
Yeah,
Okay. And so
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So they have to be able to, at least one time in 4 games, not let that happen. So is it possible? Of course it's possible. And again, the big but, there's always the but. That means they have to be perfect at home. So the way that they play defense, they haven't shown that they're capable of doing that on a consistent basis. And should they lose a game at home, it means they got to find a way to do it twice on the road. So that makes it even less of a likelihood that they would be able to repeat as champions based on that, just from a statistical standpoint.
Rick, but by the way, you and I are both relying on the official NBA box score for our analysis tonight, the official scores report that the National Basketball Association publishes for media. And I just noticed this right now. They actually included a memo at the bottom of the box score. You can see this as well, that says light the beam. This is on an official NBA box
What
score.
do you say?
It says light the beam.
Light the beam?
Yeah, do you see that? Because that's Sacramento's slogan this year.
Oh,
Every time they win a game, they have this. They shoot this light into the sky, and they call it the
I
beam.
got you. I got you. Light
And so their scorer added light the beam on an the score
the
box score. That's absolutely incredible.
Well, they did. The beam was shining bright in the second half. I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
the beam was definitely shining. I just really hope. Here's one thing, Rick. Let me know what you think about this. To me, one thing with the Warriors that is different this year versus past years is their third quarter efficiency. This is a team like I feel like it's been part of their identity where they come out after halftime and they usually blow teams out of the water. All four championship teams, they were number one in the NBA in terms of third quarter differential, meaning they outscored opponents in the third quarter at a larger difference than anyone else. And they did this every championship year. In every year of the current era, with the exception of 2020, they excelled at it. Even 2021, a year where they lost in the play-in tournament, they still were fourth in the NBA in third quarter differential. This year, they were 20th. And tonight, once again, they got outscored in the third quarter, 36-29. This has been a pattern that's happened a lot. I asked my friend Larry Kruger. He interviewed Steve Kerr a month or so ago. Our friend, yeah, you work with him as well at KNBR. And he'd love to have you on his show, by the way. Anytime you want to go on there, just let me know. And does that mean anything to you? Because that means something to me. Because I've noticed a correlation where nearly every successful team dominates third quarters. The why of that you can answer better than me. But they're not doing it well this year in third quarters. Is there anything that you read into that yourself?
Well, I mean, obviously, they don't have the same kind of focus that they have to do it and understand
Right.
how important the third quarter is. I mean, it's always important, especially the first 5 minutes. You just hear that from every coach I ever played with, and it really is true. How do you come out and play in that first 5 minutes of that third quarter? It's so
Right.
critical because you're basically playing two games. You're playing the first half of a game and the second, and the second half takes place then. So you have a full game there, then you have a game here. So the one that wins their game, that game, that half by the most points, if they're going to be able to win. That's what the Kings did. But they outplayed them. I mean, they really did. I think they did. They outplayed them when they needed to in that fourth
Yeah.
quarter. But
Yeah.
also, the Warriors also had that lead, and we got back to what we talked about when we were doing your other show. Steph is going hot and doing stuff, and took him out, and it might have killed a little bit of the momentum that they have, especially on the road. If you're going good, why are you going to stop what you're doing when you're on the road, shit, try and get as many points and as many baskets as you can from a guy that's going good, and try to put as much space between you and the opposition as you possibly can. I don't. All I know is, again, he knows the team. He's had great success there and all. God forbid, who am I to say not? But I'm just saying, if I were coaching at that stage, I would not have taken Steph out of the game.
This has been a critique of Kerr, not just tonight. He's done this quite a few times this year, where Steph and Curry will be on a hot streak. The Warriors have momentum behind his efficiency, and then all of a sudden Kerr will just pull him. And it's not the first time that he's done this. And Rick, if anyone can question Kerr, and I'm not saying you are. I mean, we're doing this. This is what sports talk is, right? I mean,
you questioned him and you asked me what I would do. Okay,
but you have credibility.
I answered honestly. If I were there at that time, I would not have taken him out. I mean, and I'm entitled to that opinion. Okay,
yes,
I mean, that's just what I would do when I did the limited experience and stuff that I had coaching in the minor leagues. I would never take a player out who was going good. If anything, I'd get upset with my team if they didn't put the ball in his hands. I'll tell you a quick story. So I'm coaching my team in the minor leagues this time. It was in the USBL, and I'm playing, and I've got Darren Hancock on my team, the great player who played at Kansas, right? Played for many years in the NBA. And he's going, he had like 26, I think, at the half, right? So we go out, and, we're into the first few minutes, 3-4 minutes of the third quarter. I called a 20-second timeout. I bring the guys over to the huddle. I said, hey, guys, come here. I said, and I pointed, I said, this is Darren Hancock. He's your teammate. He had 26 points in the first half. Do you think you can pass him the ball a couple of times?
Oh man! So, do you want to get to some questions? There's a
yeah,
lot
for
of
sure.
them
Let's
tonight.
do it.
So the first one is from, I think this is actually Bip Roberts. I don't know if you ever met him, former Major League Baseball player. I think he also has a show on the Mic'd Up app. Here's what Bip has to say.
Hey Rick, the playoffs are tough. Tell me a little bit about that intensity that both teams feel when that ball gets tossed up.
I don't. To me, I didn't think they were tough. I thought they were fun. I mean, I just really looked forward to it because the importance of the game was so much more paramount than any game you play during the regular season, unless you're playing the last game of the season to try to make the playoffs or get home court. So you really look forward to it. I think all the players know that. I heard Draymond say something the other day, which showed you. He said, "Yeah, we know we got to fix them. It's a different mentality when you go into the playoffs. The focus is totally different." And I love the fact that he used the word focus, because you've heard me use that so much over the years, Cyrus, because, again, any coach can get someone to play hard. He can't get them to be focused, because that's an individual thing that you have to figure out for yourself. What the hell does it take for me to keep my head in the game, all right? And Draymond mentioned that, and I thought that was good, although I would have disagreed with him that it's a different time, it's a different focus. Well, that's where I have a little bit of a problem. I don't think it should be a different focus, because you should be that way every time you step on that damn court, regardless of what the situation is. It's just that the importance of the game is more paramount, but it shouldn't mean that you get all of a sudden you're going to flip a switch and now you got another focus level to go to in the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe it's a situation that some players don't worry about it too much, and they think about it, and they force themselves to do it. And all I'm saying is, if that's the case, that it takes a playoff to do it, then shame on you. You should be able to do it every game that you play.
Well, I've heard like Stephen Curry's said this, Draymond said this, even when we had Leandro Barbosa on our show, and I asked them about this as well, that they've all alluded to the fact that they don't have infinite supplies of energy. Like the reservoir does exist, and so Stephen Curry's alluded to pacing himself depending on what month it is. Draymond Green this year has alluded to the fact that he doesn't get out of bed if they're in March, and Leandro Barbosa said as well that by pursuing that 73 wins, it potentially cost them, because they felt a lack of energy in the NBA Finals that they think they could have had more so of if they didn't pursue that 73 wins. You're saying you never felt that though when you played, right?
No,
like you just
I think to say I never felt like that. I never felt I didn't have the energy. I mean, sure, sometimes when I was playing back in then, when we did it, they have 4 games in 5 nights or something. You might be a little bit tired, but no, especially when I was younger. My God, no. I don't. Yeah, I just don't. I don't necessarily buy into that. I don't know why you should be tired. I mean, you should be ready to play at all times, and you're getting paid now millions of dollars. I mean, you should want to have yourself in the greatest physical condition possible, for no other reason, for yourself, so that you can go out and perform the best you possibly can perform, and then also for for your teammates and for your team and for the organization and for the fans. I mean, you owe you owe it to yourself. Always, your best effort should always be owed to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these other elements, then it's because of your teammates, and it's because the team in general and everybody involved in the organization, and then for your fans who have been loyal, especially the great fans that the Warriors have. So that should be something that should be preeminent. And I have a difficult time thinking that I was going to be more focused in the playoffs than I was in the regular season. I can tell you what the problem was that I learned when I finally got to the playoffs. I didn't get there the first year, okay? So I got to the playoffs, and the next year is the fact that we got to the finals, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got so wrapped up about the importance of it, and it was enormous, that I found that that's what sapped my energy. I'm telling you, you get so wrapped up emotionally in something and thinking about it, it saps your freaking physical energy too. And I found that. I learned that the hard way. And, when we got back to the finals again doing it, I knew better than to get myself so psyched up that I'm going to sap my energy.
Right. So you do have limited amounts of energy. You are not a
Yes,
superhuman.
you definitely have limited amounts of energy. And it's amazing sometimes where, you can get something else to come from, but you can sap your energy. I'm talking about me getting so emotionally into it. It will sap your energy.
Right.
As far as worrying about the fact that I'm playing hard and doing in other games, no, and especially playoffs, because you never playing back-to-back games.
Right. You want to hear from EJ?
Sure, let's hear from whoever we got.
Here we go. Here's EJ.
Hey, Rick, it's Eric Johnson. EJ, hey, what happened to the Warriors' defense tonight? I mean, it's been inconsistent all year. I'm just wondering, when are we going to start playing a little defense? It's playoff time.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
All right. Okay, EJ. Yeah, that's good initials. That's like Ernie Johnson, who's great. I
Yeah,
love
yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, what happened is basically like Groundhog Day. We've seen it. We've seen it all season long.
Yep.
They go out, they'll play well, in the first half, and then all of a sudden the second half, that was the exact situation here, especially on the road. They're so inconsistent with their defense when they go out on the road. Um, Again, I mean, Draymond, we talked just now about focus. I mean, and sometimes you can be focused. Sometimes the other team just gets going, and Sacramento got going. I mean, this is an incredibly explosive team. They have guys who create a problem because their speed is so fantastic. Especially Fox. I mean, this guy is like, he's like a lightning bolt,
Yeah.
and good with the basketball. And Monk and their aggressive attacking to the basket caused a lot of problems for the Warriors. And because of the fact that they're getting the penetration in Cyrus, that's one of the reasons that Sacramento was getting a bunch of offensive rebounds as well, because everybody's got to go and help and do stuff. So you don't have your defensive responsibility to screen your guy off the boards. Therefore, getting an opportunity to get in there. And, one guy switching off, then the guy he switches off, he's going, gets his hand on a ball. Next thing you know, they got an offensive rebound, and especially a guy like Sabonis. So, and everybody's dropped. They dropped him because he wasn't shooting the ball well tonight, but, he's tough down low inside.
Yeah.
That's what kind of hurt him. And so the penetration of the guards, Monk and they were crazy. Both they were absolutely awesome. Fox and Monk were nuts today. I mean, they were beautiful. And for the first playoff game, what a first playoff game, right? That Fox had.
Incredible. And De'Aaron Fox was also like lighting it up from three tonight. He finished the game at least from beyond the arc.
4 for 8. 4 for 8. Yeah.
He was 4 for 8, but on the season he was a 32% 3-point shooter, and so props to De'Aaron Fox. He had one hell of a game. Do you want to hear from? Let's hear from Leanne.
Hey, Cy. Why don't you think they let Kuminga attack the basket?
Well, Rick's here also. Sorry, Rick. I don't know.
No. That's because she probably has a crush on you. I don't know.
I hope so. I'm single right now. Well, Rick, I don't know. I've been asking this question all year about Kuminga and even Moses Moody, who got a DNP.
Okay. Well, let me jump in quickly. First of all,
please.
For her question, they let him attack the basket. They just don't play him a lot and try to do a lot of things for him. He does. Let's just say this: he doesn't have the freedom of Fox or Monk. Okay,
No.
he has the athleticism, but he doesn't have the green light.
No, he does not.
And
And I think that's
he
unfortunate.
plays well within the system, and he'll get more aggressive. Jordan Poole was one that has the aggressiveness to do it. He had to earn his way, but he relentlessly did it.
Yeah.
And you can see a bit of hesitation in Kuminga at times. He gets the ball caught. He's wide open. I mean, that ball is Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Poole. That ball is shot. There's many times he's caught the ball where there was a shot there, and he is reluctant to maybe just fire it up there whenever he gets that opportunity. Jordan Poole wasn't shy about doing that.
No,
Okay,
he's never been.
Steph has never been shy about it. In fact, some of the shots that Steph hit tonight were just, folks, man. Let me tell you something. I marvel at Steph Curry at some of the shots that he makes. You don't even have. They were such difficult shots, and he runs and gets open, and he has just, a half a second. I mean, a split. It's unbelievable that this guy can be as accurate as he is from that distance. Now, occasionally he doesn't get his feet set. You saw a couple shots that had no chance whatsoever going in. I think his shot clock was running out on a few of them, unfortunately. And that's why, like, even the last shot he took in the game. I mean, that could just as easily have gone in, and that's the kind of stuff that he's capable of doing. But not he never got set. He was drifting to his left as well.
Yeah,
so it was a very difficult shot. But when Steph takes a shot, anything can happen. So yeah, he's a remarkable player. But overall, the fact that they had such a bad second half defensively, and that to credit for Kings, the great second half that they had. The Warriors were still in this game.
Yeah, till the very
with
end.
Wiggins, who showed well but shot terribly from 3-point range, had a lot of good wide open looks. When he made his first one, I said, "Wow, this is going to be unbelievable. This is so good. I'm so excited about this." But that was not to be. I think he was actually 1 for 8 from 3 points. I mean, that's just not going to get it done.
Yeah.
2 for 4 from the free throws. But he looked good. He did a lot of good defensive things, and he was there to help out. But the 3-point shot was the one that could have used them more. I mean, let's face it. All he had to do in this game, right, is if he made 2 more, 3 for 8. If he makes 3 for 8, the Warriors win the game.
They win, yeah. And I'm pleading to, if anyone can relay this message to Steve Kerr, please just have a little more faith in your youngsters. Kuminga played 9 minutes 45 seconds tonight. Still was 3 for 4 from the field if you don't count his 2 3-point attempts where he was 0 for 2. But he was also a 37% 3-point shooter on the year. And Moses Moody is another player. He played the last 3 games of the season, got an extended run. He led the team in scoring, I believe, the last game with 25 points in a must-win game. At least they treated it like that. And we saw him get DNP'd. Moses Moody at 6'5" is a 7'1" wingspan. And when you're playing a team like Sacramento, who's athletic, who's high energy, who has that pace that they bring to a game, you need to match that somehow. And Moses Moody is also 20 years old. Throw that young kid out there. He's shown maturity. He's a solid shooter, solid player. I wish Kerr had more faith in his youngsters. He doesn't, though. Clearly, he doesn't trust them. And unfortunately, though, tonight it might have cost them. Do you want to hear another one, or what do you think?
It might have. It might have. I mean, I just, the thing is most coaches, when they do things, they really shorten their roster come playoff time, and they're going to, some of them go 7, but 8 and 9 is usually where they're going. That's what they did here. Yeah. But it was 8. And then Kuminga was 9 and didn't even get to 10 minutes. The other guys at least got 20 minutes in the game, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not easy, coaching, especially when you have a bunch of talent to do it. It's just a matter of trying to put the right guys in at the right time, and sometimes not take certain guys out at certain times. I mean, seriously, I've always been a big believer in that. That's why I said it. I think a lot of coaches would agree with me. A lot of ones would say, hey, I got to go with what I feel, and that's their prerogative. But to me, I never would take a guy hot going out of the game. If nothing else, I always live by the old cliche, feed the guy that's hot and, milk the hot hand, whatever you want to say.
Right.
And I definitely am a big believer in that. And I think it happened twice in the game today. The guys that had just made some shots and stuff came out of the game. And I don't understand that, but, that's just me.
No, well, no. It's not just you. I think a lot of people totally understand what you're saying, Rick. And just to add to that, by the way, that on the flip side of that same coin is a player like Klay Thompson, who has 100% Kerr's trust. He played 37 minutes tonight, and he didn't shoot the ball well, not only from deep. He was 5 for 14. You saw that one play where I think DiVincenzo passed him the ball, and he wasn't even paying attention. Did you see that, where it hit like the back of his head? And it's just for some reason, I noticed a lack of focus from Klay Thompson a lot, and he absolutely struggled in terms of plus minus. He was a minus 14. No one else on the team came even close to that. So maybe just I don't know.
You could always sit around and second guess. I actually, to be honest with you, early in the first half of the game, I was impressed with Klay's aggressiveness, taking the ball hard to the basket and doing stuff. I thought he played exceptionally well in the first half.
True.
Didn't play as well, in the second half. Those guys were also doing a good job because Mike Brown's a defensive guy. They did a lot of jumping on screens and stuff to not let a guy go behind and get that little extra look, especially with guys like Steph and Klay. I thought overall they did a really good job. The Warriors made a lot of very difficult 3-point shots.
Yes, they did.
Whereas the Kings got a lot of good, wide open looks at 3-point shots. And that's the big difference, is to have a situation where you can catch it, have time to do it, as opposed to having to get it off quickly.
Yeah.
And they forced the Warriors to have to take a lot of those shots in this basketball game. So credit to Sacramento, for doing that, even though they gave up 123 points. This was a good old-fashioned shootout at the OK Corral. And the fact that the Warriors, despite a horrible second half defensively, were still in the game.
Yeah, 71 points they gave up in the second half.
That's 61, so I'm saying it was 71 points.
Yeah,
because they were 55 in the first half and 71 in the second half. Yes, that's terrible.
That's absolutely garbage. That is just horrible. There's no positive spin on that. Let's hear from Jim Darby.
Rick, my name is Jim Darby. I have a question regarding the game tonight. It sure looked to me like Steph Curry had a chance to set up on that three at the end of the game. Instead, he did a running three. Your thoughts on that? Thanks, buddy.
That last shot of the game was miraculous that he was able to even get a chance to get a look. They only had 2 points up in seconds, so you got to just catch and turn. I mean, and that's what he does so incredibly well. That's why I said for him to even get that off, but he had to get away from a defender to get a little bit of space to do it. And that's why, if you saw, he was going to his left because he was trying to get away from the defense. And that's even crazier. I don't know why, if they were going to run something, why would you not have run something and let him go to his right? Here's why. They had him going to catch the ball and had to go to his left. Well, when you go to your left, your right arm, your right hand shooter, your right hand and arm, the ball is still close to the defender. If he was going to his right, it's much more difficult, and it's a much easier look to go to your right and shoot a shot than it is going to your left.
Yeah.
So it was a much more difficult shot. And so, and the hell with Steph, you never know if he had a chance to do it, but he wasn't doing it. It would have been just a crazy shot to be able to make it because of having to drift and going to his left. But if they're going to set a play up to get the ball to something, I would think you would want to do it. Well, what I would do is I'd ask the player, which way do you feel better going, to your left or your right? I feel like Steph is good. Steph is good coming around going to his left as well.
Exactly.
How about the shot he hit from the freaking corner when he ran from the top of the key on the left side?
God,
that was a set play and that out of bounds play. And and it was a great pass, and he had no time whatsoever coming around to his left, and he did it. Now, the thing is he was able to stop his momentum and go up and shoot it, whereas in this last second shot, he still was moving.
And he still almost made it, too, by the way.
I know. Yeah.
The degree of difficulty is absolutely insane. Anyways, Jim Cleveland. Let's hear what Jim has to say.
Hi, Rick. I wanted to get your opinion on Wiggins' play tonight. I thought overall decent game, but do you think he just ran out of steam as he missed some key shots down the stretch?
Yeah, well, it's tough when you're taking 3-pointers. You got to have your legs, and he played. I thought he looked way better than I thought he was going to look, but certainly not playing some. The legs might not have been there for him because 1 for 8 from 3-point range. That's not going to cut it. That's a detriment to the team when you're 1 for 8 from there. So he did a lot of good things, but his 3-point shooting was not there.
Yeah, that's going to improve. At least you can. I think you can kind of expect that an improvement from 1 for 8. So I think we have that to look forward to. Here's Taylor Duvakis.
Hey, Rick.
Bacchus.
In Game 2, how do you think that the Warriors can do a better job at containing De'Aaron Fox?
Ooh, great question.
It's hard because he can shoot the three. So usually, if a guy can't shoot the three, you can back off on him and make him go left or right. But he can go left, he can go right, he can handle the ball. He's got incredible quickness. He's a tough guard, man. There's nobody going to be shutting this kid down ever. I'm telling you that right now. He's a special player.
He is.
I hadn't really watched very closely, but man, yeah, he can flat out play.
Yeah, he played 40 minutes.
I mean, what you have to try to do is and again, I would say that just play him hard and tough, but you don't leave a 3-point shooter to come to help with him, okay? And if he's going to score his points, let him score his points on 2-pointers, not 3-pointers. I mean, he had a great game. I mean, unbelievable. He was 4 for 8 from threes. And so what I'm saying with him is that he's not normally that great a 3-point shooter. I would still back off of him. Okay, so you got to take the lesser of two evils. What's the weakest part of his offensive game? 3-point shooting.
The 3-point shooting, yeah, he shot 32%.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So if I'm playing, if De'Aaron Fox is going to beat me, he's going to have to do it shooting 3-point shots. I am going to back off of him some until he's showing me that he's knocking him down consistently. Okay, you're there, but you're there in a position so he can't get by you to get into the gut of the defense, so nobody has to come help and everybody can stay home on their people. What the problem was is they were letting him get by, and he was creating opportunities, for his teammates, and we're getting shots himself, going to the basket, getting to the free throw line. I mean, hell, between the two of them, what did they do? De'Aaron Fox shot 12 free throws, and Monk shot 14.
Oh,
I mean, between the two of them, they shot 14.
You're correct.
And 12, yeah. 26. They only had 32 free throws for the whole team. They had 26 of them.
And if you want, and Rick, the other side of the coin for that, the Splash Brothers combined 2 free throw attempts.
Right. So, they were out there trying to get open and take these really very difficult shots because of the way that Brown was switching on screens and stuff, and had a lot of very, very difficult shots. A lot. And these other guys, they get to the free throw line. So, I mean, you live and die from the perimeter, and that's what it is. Let me see what the final total was here for 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting. So that's 32% for the Warriors and 37% for Sacramento. So there you go. That's the difference. That was the difference. That's basically, you want to pick a difference in the game. That's right there. I mean, and Rick, they also got more free throws. They outscored them by 5. From free throws?
Yes, they had 5 more free throw attempts. But Rick, what's really crazy is the Kings were struggling from 3 most of this game. Right. And then in the fourth quarter, they were 5 for 6 from 3. And for the second half, 8 for 16 from 3. So a horrible start to the game for them in terms of 3-point shooting, but did not end horribly. They ended incredibly strong. And yeah, that's just really been the Achilles heel for the Warriors this year. Is just perimeter defense. They've been awful at it. Like, what would you think about the idea of Gary Payne II basically matching De'Aaron Fox minute by minute? Like just have Gary Payne II, his entire one role, just guard De'Aaron Fox and just don't be a negative on offense, because he's actually
I would not have a problem with that, because I think he's not going to lock him down or something, but he's going to sure as hell make him work a lot harder. And more than likely, if he follows what I said, overplay him, or if he's bringing it up the floor, you still back off, stay back off, give him his 3-point shot.
Yeah.
I don't care if he makes his first 2. Keep giving him his 3-point shot. He's creating more problems for you, and he's probably, based upon statistics, is not going to shoot 4 for 8 for 50% on a regular basis. And I would rather live with him beating me doing that than getting by and creating a problem and scoring all these points and getting to the free throw line 12 times.
I agree. We got 2 more here. Con So Rad. I'm guessing their real name is Conrad. Let's hear what.
Hi, Rick. This is Conrad from Danville. I'm pumped that you're still so engaged with the Warriors. My question is, what is it going to take for Stephen Curry to get the same treatment as all the other superstars from the refs?
We talked about this on Locked On.
Let me know.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I would agree with you. In fact, I used to tell my wife was an All-American basketball player and ran USA basketball for women for many, many years in 3 different Olympics. Great player in herself. Great offensive player. Still has records. Only woman to have her jersey retired, right? So Lynn's amazing.
Incredible.
And she's watching the game. We're sitting watching. They're talking about about this. She says, "Oh my God, look what they're doing to Steph Curry." He says, "How is that not a foul?"
Yeah.
And I agree 100%. We've talked about this before. I remember bringing the conversation up. If some of the things they're doing to Steph Curry, if they did it on the street, they'd get arrested.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, no, seriously. I mean, they beat him up, and even he looked one time. You remember that he made an incredible move to get in and score a basket, something, and gets hit and gets knocked down, and no foul
No
being
call.
called. I mean, they let him beat the shit out of him off the ball, which is unfortunate. It really is.
Rick, let me know if you agree or disagree. My one theory on the reason why Stephen Curry doesn't get the quote unquote the star treatment from officials is you've said this many times that the Warriors routinely set a lot of potentially illegal screens that allow Steph to get open, and you don't really see that whistle blown a lot. So do you think that's where the star treatment is coming from, and just people, at least the average viewer, is not noticing the fact that a lot of these screens might be illegal, but the refs are laying off the whistle, and that's where the star treatment is, or is that totally?
No, they lay off of anybody setting screens.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, come on, they even called one on Steph, and it was a good call. It was a block when he jumped out that one time.
Yes, in front of Derek Fox, right?
Yeah,
I think it was on.
Yeah, and the shot clock was running down. It really was. There's no reason for it to have to be that aggressive coming out. He just had to be there, and the shot clock. And what would have happened is Fox would have had to take one of those really crazy shot clock running shots. Okay, and so that hurt them, no question about it.
Big time.
And those kind. It's also the fouls you take. It's also the fouls that you pick up. When do you pick them up, and under what circumstance do you pick them up?
Okay? Yeah, and you're right. No, you're absolutely right. And what about Steph's 5 turnovers, by the way? He's been doing that a lot lately. Those turnovers have been...
Well, they started the game with one of them. I mean, that's not a great way to do it, but they did do a better job of not making a lot of crazy fouls. But I do think some of the calls that they made when that little stretch in that fourth quarter, when they just one foul. I said, oh my God, it went from hardly any fouls at all to both teams are in the penalty. And and I think that had a bit to do with a little bit of a momentum shift and helping Sacramento out being at home. And there were some questionable calls, non-calls that I think on some of the drives that went in there, especially on Steph's part. But it's not that so much that because you could see all that. But even then, it was pretty obvious that there was contact. But the other thing is what they're doing to him off the ball. I mean, my God. I mean, they're not letting him even try to take a step, and the guy's jumping in front of him and giving him a freaking shiv, like it's like giving a block at football at the line. It's crazy. I'm serious. Next game is that watch, folks, or go back and watch a game and watch closely. Watch exactly what Cyrus is bringing up in our caller. That's exactly what the hell is going on. I mean, they beat the hell out of him, and because that's old school. That's the way when I played. That's the stuff that happened all the time. We didn't get those calls. And normally in an NBA game, they call things pretty closely, but usually it's when they're on the ball, with the ball. And Steph doesn't seem to get as many of those calls as some of these other guys.
Yeah, I wish I knew the why of that, other than the league is in bed with Nike and LeBron James. We got one more here. Nick Cohn. What do you have to say?
Hey, Rick, what 2 teams do you think are going to play in the NBA Finals?
There we go.
Well, I get asked that kind of stuff all the time, and I tell people if I knew that, I'd be making bets. I have no idea. A lot will depend upon Hurd, who's going to be playing well. Like what Middleton's status is going to be with the Bucks. That's going to be a big factor. I guess something is there. Something happened with him, or that he's got something that might be bothering him. I don't know what the deal with the Celtics. So, who knows? Pick a team if everybody's healthy and doing stuff. It's pretty hard, I think, right now, the way that they're playing, because they seem to get their stuff together. I think the team playing better, really good at the end of the season there was the Bucks. And it would be pretty difficult against them. They've got a lot of experienced guys who have been there before. And that's another thing I'll bring up very quickly. Credit to the Sacramento Kings for some of these young guys never been in the playoffs or stuff to go out and put on a performance like that. That's special, very special. Now let's see what they do on the road.
Exactly. And I still think the Warriors will win a game too. I'm still very confident because playoff series, a 7-game series, Rick, as you know as well, if not better than anyone, it's all about adjustments, right? They lost game one. They're going to look at the film. Draymond Green alluded to this in postgame as well, that they're going to sit down and strategize in terms of De'Aaron Fox, and so they can avoid another outpouring of points like they saw. Sorry, I got a mosquito or something in here. So so it's hopefully we'll see adjustments, and I think the Warriors will win game two. I'm feeling very confident about that.
Well, hopefully
Any
they'll
feelings
shoot
from
the
you for
ball
game two,
better.
Rick?
Well, they got outshot from 3-point range in this game, and so many of the NBA games are determined that way. And the Kings, one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league, and they throw up a lot of 3-point opportunities, and they stunk in the first half. I mean, but again, credit the fact that the Warriors looked like they were really hustling with defense. I don't think they got as many good open looks as they did in the second half. So it's interesting. I think that they have a chance to do it, but there's no film watching or anything else that's going to do anything other than better than making your shots. If you got open shots, you got to make them. I mean, that has nothing to do with strategy or anything. That just does with a player performing at a high level, and they had two guys who performed at a really high level for them. I mean, exceptionally high level. I mean, to get 70 points between them. 70 points between them, and our two top people had 51.
Oh,
okay.
Jesus, yeah, that's
51. I mean, and then also the bench. I mean, 32 and 16, 48, 52, 55 points off the bench. Now the Warriors did well too. They had 50.
Yeah.
Warriors had 50. But the thing is the two best players offensively for the Kings were superior to the two best players for the Warriors.
By a lot.
Here's the difference. But the huge difference is like you pointed out, okay, between Steph and Clay, they shot, well, Clay didn't even take a free throw. 2 free throws.
Exactly, combined.
2 free throws to 26 for the other two guys.
There you go. That's yeah, that's brutal. It's going to be tough for us to
understand the other two guys are young guys, incredibly athletic, who will go and attack the rim with a vengeance. Steph and Clay are not those type of players.
Exactly. That's why I feel like we need to see more Kuminga. We need to see, even Moses Moody. Moses Moody is not a detriment. I feel like Kerr looks at Moody and sees someone that could make things worse if he's out there. I've never once seen that. Moses Moody is not a detriment. He's a positive. And played Gary Payne more. I think Gary Payne II. They traded James Wiseman for this guy. This is what they got him for, to play defense. And now's the time, man. Play more than 20 minutes, please. Please, Steve Kerr, please. Anyways, how are your other ventures going? How's pickleball going? How's Medicinal?
I'm getting ready to go down. Actually, heading down tomorrow to go to Naples to play in the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships all next week down in Naples, Florida.
Wow.
Looking forward to play with my men's partner Fred Shuey and Diane Baumgartner in the women's division. So we play in the age division, and then we play in the age and skill division in both men's and women's. So men's and mixed, I should say. So I'm very much looking forward to that, because that's the kind of thing that keeps me going, Cyrus. I mean, the biggest thing when I stopped playing is that I needed a challenge. I'd love to be challenged. I'd love to compete. And that's why I got into long driving, and I did that really, and was very successful doing that. But then they got rid of all the old guys, I could call it the old farts division. So they got us out of the picture, and I had to find something else. And thank God I found pickleball. I mean, I've got a million things going on in the world of pickleball. I'm actually in discussions with some people with the possibility of hosting a pickleball show. The only thing that would be comparable to that is if I could get my fishing show going off and do my fly fishing show. Then I'd have the best of both worlds. But
yeah,
I'm blessed. I'm blessed that had a nice birthday recently, and hopefully I can find a way to get 21 more so that I can be 100 years old. Go fly fishing, and probably fly fishing in Alaska, and be able to still play pickleball.
I love it, sir. That is awesome. Well, tonight, despite the Warriors losing, was still fun. Thank you, as always. Anything else we should cover, or are we good? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't know when to do another one because, with my pickleball stuff going on, but the nice thing is that the games are on at night, so I should still be able to go ahead and catch the other games after my day of playing pickleball, and check and see how the Warriors do in the next game. As I say, they played against a really good team at home who had a great second half,
And that crowd,
they were still right there with a number of things that they did that hurt themselves. But we'll see. But my big thing. Back off of Fox. I mean, that's the same way with plays like LeBron. Shit, in his case, you overplay him so until he gets the ball, so he gets it far out. Then drop back off and say, "Hey, take as many threes as you want. If you can beat me doing that, I can live with that. But I'm not going to live with you going by me and dunking on me." In the case of Fox, he can do that too. But the same thing. He's so quick and all. Hey, embarrass him, make him shoot it, and then a lot of times he's going to take up the slack, especially if he takes a couple early and he doesn't make them. In this case, he made them, so he had confidence in it. But if he's missing a few doing that, he's going to then start to force things a little bit. And if you're back off him, he's never going to at least turn the corner on you, which really creates the breakdown defensively, because somebody has to help. And then you do something in that situation, and you wind up leaving a player like Lyles wide open to have an opportunity to go 4 for 6 from 3-point range. Okay, with his feet set. You can't let that happen. Okay, Lyle's in the game. You should never leave him.
No, and for some reason, Lyle just eats the Warriors up. There are a few players the Kings have that just seem to enjoy a lot of success when they play the Warriors, and Lyle is
but Cyrus, if you're going to be left wide open with your feet set at behind 3-point line, what the hell? You're supposed to make a good percentage.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So take that away. Yeah. Hey, even if Lyles, if you only gave him 2 3-pointers that he made and you took a couple of those shots away, that's the difference in the game.
4 for 6 from beyond the arc. The Kings were just.
Man, well, I'm just saying, if they hadn't left him a couple of times, right, and left him like that, that's 6 more points that he would have never had a chance to get.
And you know what's really dangerous is that 2 of the Kings' best 3-point shooters did not even make a 3. Kevin Huerter, who's a fantastic shooter, was 0 for 5.
Right.
The rookie Keegan Murray was 0 for 3. That's not going to happen again. So the Warriors, I mean, they got to make some adjustments. I got to let people know before we go real quick. Rick, you're available on social media on all platforms at Rick24Berry. Follow me on Twitter at DogSurFrocho, and all of the content pertaining to your shows at Rick Berry's house. Follow those so you know when we're going to record next, where you can find links for the show, to download the Mic'd Up app. We post all information about the show there. So
okay, I gotta get this. I got a couple of quick other things out.
Please, it's your show, sir.
I got to end with another one. You'll love this one.
All right.
So again, you can go to GoSleeves.com, RB24. Now, RB, small letter RB24 is the code to put in for a discount. So GoSleeves.com, just check it out. It's the awesome product. I never played pickleball without them. People are going crazy over these things. So go check out Go Sleeves, for knees and Achilles and calves and elbows. And then RB24, and then Medicilleaf, MEDICILEAF, Medicilleaf.com, RB24. That's cannabinoid products, no THC in it. If you want to get high, that's not the place to go. So go there, you get the discount. Unbelievable products they have there. You can get that RB24 code for the discount as well. I love their salve. They have 5,500 milligrams in one of these salves that the Platinum Plus. It's incredible stuff. I use this stuff on a daily basis. I use things. And then you can also go to Aloe, ALOE, AlloMD.com, AlloMD.com, same code, RB24. Check the products out there. The Ultimate Recovery X is the product. They've changed the brand on that one. That's something that I've seen miraculous thing helping. Same thing, RB24 code. Check those out. Now, it's one thing to do broadcasting. It's another thing to be almost like a freaking show. So I have to bring this up. I got to do it. I'll do it. Okay, so here we go. I even made a note about it. So
all right,
in the game the other day, it was, let me see, where are we? Okay, yeah, in the fourth quarter of the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? In the fourth quarter and overtime of the Lakers-Wolves games, the Lakers went 8 for 24 and the Wolves 5 for 23. In the last 5 minutes and 59 seconds of regulation, the Wolves did not have a field goal. And I have great respect for him. I like him, I love him as a person, and he's a hell of a basketball player. But Reggie, please, You can't be over there and be overly enthusiastic, talking about how great this game was and the great play. And this is what we got to look forward to in the playoffs. That was horse shit basketball on the part of both of those teams during that stretch run with some terrible passes. And the Lakers had the game locked up and let it get away from them. I mean, seriously. So please, please, just be honest about what's happening. Because if people know the game, you know, like me, I'm questioning what game you were watching there, and to be talking so enthusiastically about the great play that everybody was getting a chance to see. So anyway, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm sure
So
somebody.
wait, hold on. So Rick, you're saying Reggie Miller was basically just being overly positive about the play of the
Oh
Lakers?
yeah, no, overly enthusiastic about the NBA and the play and all this other stuff that's going on over there. No, it wasn't. That wasn't the case. Seriously, it was not the case. That was some lousy basketball with some terrible plays that were being made. Come on, Reggie. I mean, you're better than that. Call the game according to what the hell is happening. I mean, you know, they won't fire you like they did me because I would talk about it that way, the way I just said. You know, back in those days, if I did that, oh God, I'm too negative. I mean, negative my butt. I was just being honest.
Yeah.
Reggie, please be honest. I mean, you know, come on, seriously. You know the game. That was terrible basketball that you were watching. Yeah, high intensity and whatever. And the reason it was exciting, why? Because the game was close and the game was on the line for so many plays. But the quality of play was not very good.
I was muted there. Sorry. I'm trying to find another infamous sound clip because some people, Rick, they just can't handle the truth, right? I mean, that's just kind of how it is.
Well, yeah, no, that is the truth because we did that all the time on our shows and everything. That's the old Jack Nicholson courtroom with Tom.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
There you go. One more time.
And that's
I
true.
want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And most people have a difficult time with the truth. They really, truly do.
They do, yes.
Well, no, I get asked questions. I say it all the time. I get asked questions. I give an honest answer, and they probably get mad at me. I mean, if you ask me a question, be prepared for anything, and I'm entitled to my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but don't get mad at me.
Right.
I mean, what the heck? You know, I'm not mad at you for asking me sometimes what I think is a stupid question.
There's so much sensitivity in this world, Rick. You're right. It's unfortunate,
but anyway, hey, if this game did not make me be overly concerned about the Warriors.
Same.
You know, I still have the same concern. They got to play better defense more consistently. You can't play one half of a good basketball and good defense against a good team especially on the road and be able and get away with that.
Yep.
I really think had this game been played and the game was going along as it was with the way the Warriors played in the first half there, I don't think the Kings could have won that game if it was back, you know, at the arena. But they're on the road, and this is the problem that they've had all season long. So that problem has not been rectified as yet, but they only have to do it once with the big but, as I'll repeat myself once again, but they have to take care of business at home. And I'm looking forward to that Lakers and Ja Morant game to see how that's going to play out, too.
Yes, that should be fun as well. Yeah. So game 2 will be Monday between Warriors and Kings. Do you have a prediction for game 2? Do your instincts tell you anything, Rick, about game 2?
My instincts just tell me that if the Warriors shore up a few things and don't allow Fox and Monk to run amok like they did in this game, which I'm sure they're going to come up with some things. At least I'm praying that they're going to come up with some things. They certainly have a chance to be able to get a victory, not steal a win, but to get it. The beauty of it is that, again, even if they lose, what's happening is only what is supposed to happen. The home team wins their 2 games. Then we go to Golden State, and then game 3 becomes the most critical game of the season. And if they find a way to win that one and the next one, then they still have 2 more chances to win a game in Sacramento. And anyway, that's just the way it works. So I don't know why people get they lost the first 2 games. Yeah, well, they were supposed to win the games. They're playing at home. Now we're supposed to win ours at home. But that hasn't happened. But they still have a chance to find a way to get a victory in the next game. And I'm hoping that they do.
Yeah, Rick, it's all about, I think it's going to come down to making sure De'Aaron Fox does not play downhill style of basketball again.
You're
GP2
not,
needs to
you're not
become
going to use that word again. So I ask you not to use that word.
Wait, and then Gary Payne
But the
II
thing is, you're going to talk about it. They had two guys going downhill in this game. They can't
and then
let Monk do the same. Hey, they can't let Monk do the same thing. What's Monk's shooting percentage for the season from threes?
Wait, and then I was going to add, Gary Payne II needs to be the lockdown defender that he is.
He's not a lockdown defender. He's a good defender. He's a really great defender. Give me the. But you're trying to just get my goat by using all of these freaking terms.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Listen, if I had the thing there, I guess it drives me crazy. So now, seriously, what you looked this stuff up so quickly. So
Yes.
what is Monk's 3-point shooting for the season?
Oh, I'm going to find that out right now, but undoubtedly efficient. He's always been a good shooter. On the year, I have it right here. Malik Monk is a 35.9%.
Okay, see, again, I can live with that. It's just, I would play him the same way that I just talked about with Fox.
But Rick,
35% shooting from 3-point range is not going to kill you, okay? And he may have an off game doing that. But if he's going to get to the basket like he did and score inside, he get to the free throw line 14 times, and he's obviously a very good free throw shooter. He made all of his 14 free throws. God bless him. You don't want that happen. It just creates so many things. It opened up the opportunity when they did miss driving and penetration because of the help having to come to allow Sacramento to kill them on the offensive glass and get other opportunities. So the damage being done by the penetration and the attacking of the basket is far greater in the long run than what would happen with the 3-point range.
Yeah.
So I'm saying make those guys, because they're better going to the basket than they are shooting threes.
Yeah, Monk is pretty lethal, though, because this year, for example, he was actually 35.9%, so it's better, more.
That's outstanding 3-point shooting.
It is. Yeah.
But it's not 40%. It's not 45%.
But Rick, last year he was 40 though.
But that's fine. The thing about it is, I still rather lose with them shooting those 3-point shots, because what he did created more problems for the Warriors.
14
the only problem he's going to have there is he's getting 3 points. The other problem is he's drawing fouls against people. He's getting to the free throw line where it's like a cinch points for him. He's creating opportunities for possibly teammates and stuff because they're getting wide open looks and people have to come and help defensively. It breaks down the interior defense of a team. Yeah. Those things are far worse than Malik Monk making a bunch of 3-point shots.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
And if they had played that kind of defense and not allowed him to get, doing that, they just don't go help. Because they didn't go and help and they stay home, on Lyles and stuff. Lyles doesn't go 4 for 6.
Dude, we'll see. Should be interesting. So where are you going to be watching game 2?
I'm sorry. He went 4 for 6, right? Yeah.
Where are you going to be watching game 2?
Naples, Florida.
So the tournament will have started, and you're going to be at a hotel somewhere, probably.
I'll be at a friend's house down there.
There you go.
In fact, Billy Melchione, my old teammate, I usually stay with him, but he's got his family in visiting. So I'm staying with a friend, Ron and Maria, and the Recession, who are friends of mine from Colorado, who actually now have a place in California. They're big Warriors fans in California, and a place down in Naples. So fortunately, I got a place to stay, which is great. But I'll be watching it there, and they have a beautiful home, and they have a nice big screen TV, and so I'll be there, probably maybe having some popcorn and caffeine-free Diet Pepsi.
Fun. I love it, Rick. This is always a pleasure for me. You know that. Thank you, Rick. Good luck in your tournament, and follow us on social media. We'll let you know when we do our next show. Thank you, Rick.
Take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great weekend.